Hi guys, hello, marry me everybody. It's Lumi Unfinished. Of course, today you can see we're in the old studio, the informal time, because we're going to talk about an informal topic. Of course, Michele is going to be spending some time with me and you today to talk about her early years in the graphic arts, and Michele has agreed to bring some of her camera gear so that you can get to see at what we are doing. And of course, Michele has got a lot of different gear to show you today. Thanks for coming, Michele. You're welcome. So we're going to be showing whatever kind of stuff we're going to show. We're going to get a little background. I started out in film around, like a lot of children of my age group, born in 1968. Film was a part of our lives pretty much up until the mid-90s, and there was always that magic about film. So I always kind of found it really exciting to be working with film, and so of course I started. My dad was into amateur photography as a young boy. My aunt is still into photography now, and I got into it and into movie film because my dad had a couple old 8 movie cameras and an old a 8 movie projector, and so I had a chance to get to look at all this technology as a child. And of course, I've always found it just fascinating that how I roll a film, like say for example, 35 millimeter can become a big picture on a wall, or like a mural. And so there was this mysterious magic that was going on in photography. Today, of course, we're now seeing that the millennials, something I kind of agree with actually. I don't know much about the millennials other than this. At least I can say I can high five you on, is that you have embraced something that a lot of the Generation Xers and baby boomers have always kind of embraced, which is the film. Though they call it analog photography. No, I wouldn't call it analog photography. That is an insult. It is a chemical-based photography. It is not analog. Okay, so you don't like the term analog. No. Either call it what it is, it's chemically based, or call it film-based, but don't call it analog. Okay, now, what kind of gear are you going to show me? And, first thing I want to talk about is in order of the kinds of gear I have used and still have and still use to this day. One of the first is the my Pentax K1000, which I double checked to see how much this is going for used on bhphoto.com, which is about $229 with a standard stock 50 millimeter f2 filter. This has got a 35 millimeter wide angle. Okay, it's a manual focus camera. It has needle and aperture control. Okay, it has a shutter speed from a time shutter speed from 1 second to 1,000th of a second. Plus, it has a bulb setting. Okay, so film in it? I don't think there's film in it right now, but I do have a roll of film I can put in. Okay, and just checking. Nope. Okay, it's a single lens reflex, which means there's a mirror inside here that takes the view from the lens and sends it into through a process called a pentaprism. It sends that image up to your eyepiece so you can see it. Now, obviously, when you got your cataract in your eye, that really kind of stopped you from being able to use this as effectively. Yes, it did. But I can still use it to this day. In fact, I made sure I put new batteries in it to make sure I didn't have a problem. So, let's see. Because what I do is I set the shutter to, well, realistically, I would say probably by the 30th or 2nd, because it's not really that bright in here. You know, what happens if the exposure meter breaks in this camera? It's not impossible. If it breaks, okay, there, got it, not got it. It's just like the exposure in here in this room. We actually find that it is actually at f8 right now. But please understand that this is f8, and this is basically a set of 400 speed film, which I didn't change the exposure control. If you put brand new batteries in it, yes, I did. So this is a very nice camera. I have used this for many, many years since my junior year in high school, and I have treated this camera with the greatest of respect. I have additional lenses for it, I have additional accessories, and I have been very happy with this camera. I've taken many pictures. Okay, now you have a few more. I have a few more cameras, and one of which I have not actually used yet. Okay, but we'll start with the one that I haven't used yet, because we're going to talk about, I want to talk about cameras as far as what you probably can afford to buy, and then we'll get to the last one, which for a lot of people is just a little bit out of the range of cameras. Now, what's better, twin lens, reflex, or single lens? It's personal preference. Some people like the twin lens because you can look at it down here when you're shooting, so you can see when you open up the ground glass, and you can then focus. They have two different lenses, so you can, your focusing lens is tied in mechanically with your shooting lens, so that you can actually focus, and it has dedicated lenses for both the camera and the film. It's usually those are 120 based film, medium format. 120 film is as big as I ever want. I never got into the really big stuff like sheet film. Okay, so you actually like this camera. 35mm camera like this one, as I said, it's about $229 used at B&H Photo. Definitely is a nice, inexpensive starting camera. It's definitely a way to go if you want to get started out with that. And it uses the standard 35mm film. This is a black and white film, by the way. If you want to try black and white, but you don't want to go through find a special black and white processor, pick up this. It's called BW400CN, which is a chromogenic, which means it's a C41 process black and white film. Okay, and the advantage of this is you got a very nice, good overall picture. It's processed by any C41 processor, and the prints will come out fine. Ilford makes a similar film, but unfortunately it tends to give you a picture kind of a magenta look, because of there is no red anti-halation layer, which is kind of a way that they keep the pictures normal. It can be still printed by a C41 processor, just they have to adjust the gear. The next camera we're going to show you, as I said, I have not actually used it. I did test to see if it worked. Is a Super-8 movie camera. This is a Bell & Howell 2144 XL. And this has a very simple focusing control system in here. Okay, so this has really nice basically thing here. It has kind of the basic controls you might want to know about: the backlight, non-backlight. It does 16 or 18 frames per second, which is very common for silent movie camera. This even has what they call a single shot, which is designed for stop motion animation. This can also be used if you really want to just take one picture at a time of something. So maybe you want to take a couple thousand shots on a Super 8 film. Maybe like, friends, picture your relatives. This is electrically powered. This has a motor. This uses 4 AA batteries that go in the handle. This has a remote control connection. And it has a few other functions that you might find interesting, such as it has, it's kind of hard to turn it, but this has got what they call a plus and minus for the exposure meter. It's really kind of cool. I like this camera. It's cool. It's got slow motion. It's got fade. It's got cool. It's really not bad camera. I bought this secondhand at a junk shop. It's a little dirty. But it's it's got your nice controls. It's got your focus ring here. This might confuse you. This is the zoom, sorry. And then it has your focus ring right here, and it's really a very nice camera. You can get better gear than this, but for starting out, I think I paid like $10 for this. So this would be a good starting camera for movie film. Yeah, this would definitely be something I would definitely recommend if you want to get started with film. Get yourself a Super 8 movie camera like this, and get yourself a matching Super 8 projector, and because it's really convenient. You just, you can pop this open here, and you put your Super 8 cartridge inside, and it really simplifies things a lot. Now this is kind of a beat up camera, but still, as beat up as it is, it's really awesome. It's just really nice camera. You can get ones in better shape than this on eBay, I'm sure, but this is just what I found at the junk shop. This is a relatively inexpensive way to get your foot in the door with motion and movie film. Okay, now the next camera in your list is definitely no slouch. This is an original 1927 Bell and Howell. The reason why we're missing a filter is because we're using it on the camera. They're shooting us. Right, that's the 1 inch. Okay, so this is a turret-based camera, and there's film in this. Okay, you will see that you got when you turn the big lens here, okay, it matches up with the turret. And what you can do is you can look through this viewfinder here, and you will see the picture and stuff. You really want to hold it like this because it's so heavy. It can be adjusted for eyeglasses and things like that. There is a microfine focusing control. If you are, say for example, using this lens right here and you want to fine focus it, you can set it right there to this, and the micrograin focuser is right here on the side. Really kind of an awkward position, but we're using the other lens. Right now we're using the other lens, so I'm going to show you how to use that. I haven't used this thing in a long time, so I'm a little bit rusty, but let's see if I can try to show you how I work this. This has been so long. Okay, I see. Yeah, see, you're focused on the ground glass that's in there, and it just shows you a small piece of the picture. It's not really suitable for composing a shot. In fact, if you try to use it for composing the shot, it's like a grain focusing ring. It's really hard to see. This is really good for a camera tripod, but you can use this camera. Let's talk about the rest of the features this camera has on it. Because this is the HR-16, I guess you could call this thing a heavy relic. It says right on the date stamp, August 1927. Holy cow. 1927 camera. This is no slouch. This thing weighs a lot. This was military surplus. It was originally part of the photo division of one of the bases. And it has a few features that you will like. And now I said I got film in here. So if I push this button down, I gotta put it in the shot here, okay? If I push this button down, oh wow. Okay, so it would run the film through. It has a film counter right here on the side, so you can reset it, and it'll supposedly will measure the footage of the film as you're going through it. Okay. And then of course you have some other accessories on it too. This is called this part of it. For some reason here it says 70 KRM. Right. Okay. Now let me show you the rest of the gear that would probably excite some people. And if you're like me, it probably would scare the hell out of others. Alright, so besides the fact that this camera is heavier than a bowling ball. Oh, it's about the same weight. Okay. This camera here can use two kinds of films. I don't have any of the second one, but I'm going to show you accessories. Wow. This is a 400-foot magazine. This will shoot for 11 minutes at 24 frames per second. Are you serious? Yeah, 24 frames per second. And how in the heck do you mount this? You take the back of the other camera off, it screws, and then you screw it to the body. And you put the film in ahead of time too. Yes, the film cores can go right in here. Okay, so this is where the cores go. Okay, and this is the drive cable that goes with it. Oh, okay, so this, when you are ready to hook up the camera, after you manage to screw it into the body, you just screws in like this. Now, I haven't used this in a while, so I am really, really rusty behind this. So this is a special cable this camera uses to do the job. Yeah, okay, so when you screw this on, it's supposed to screw in like that. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so okay, so the camera, this screws on, and then that connects to only one of the wheels. Okay, it goes to this wheel. Okay, on the top. And this connects to a matching feed on the camera below. Okay, so then as it spins, the camera is picking the film up. Okay, so the camera, this is the wheel that picks the film up. Right. Okay, so it's not this one. No, actually, you know what? I'll tell you a secret. You could actually probably do it either one if you wanted to. It would be a little bit confusing, but you know what? Whichever floats your boat. Okay, so I do it this way on the top, because if you look at the camera again, okay, and you're gonna have to pretend that I got film here, so I'm not going to. And if you're not careful, you're gonna overexpose all that film. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you too how it would go on in here. Okay, so this goes on the back. Yes, like this. Right here in the back, yeah. Okay, so wait, this is awfully awkward. Yes, it is. Okay, so it goes on like this. And it feeds through here, through a loop on the bottom, and there's a roller. Let me hold up so you can my eyes can see it. There's a roller right here, okay? And what you do is, to start out with, you would unlace this, okay? How do you do that? It just loosens just like that, okay? And it goes into the shell like this. Okay, so there's a motor, there's a gear. There, it goes through like this. Okay, and then it goes onto the wheel, like I showed you already. Okay, so then this will turn, and it'll make it go forward. Yes, but one of the things that Bill and Howell said, and I'm going to remind you this, okay? They said it is not recommended to use the wind-up motor to drive the film canister. Okay, so what the hell are you supposed to use? So what you're supposed to use is one of two things. Okay, By the way, how do you load these cores? In the dark. What? You load them in the dark room. Okay. Sounds like fun. Yeah, that's the way it works. There's a, you can see here, this is a, there's a shutter button here. It's really hard to push it with your thumb, but what you do is there's a small rubber slit that goes in here. And can you show me with some film? I'd like to see how this loads. I can, yes. Okay. By the way, on some 200 foots, you don't need the core adapters. Okay. For the test print, I have an actual film I shot. It's a 100-foot reel. Okay, so this is how it could go in. Right. Okay. Now, so this film here is actually the film that goes out of the camera. Correct. Okay, so you would do is you loosen up the other one. I'm just going to show the one on top here. This is actually the take-up spool side. Okay. And you do is you place. I'm going to have to hold this up to show my audience because they can't see from there. Okay, fine. You're going to place it onto the system like this. Okay, so now that's on. That's on. Okay, if it's a cord, you can visualize you're doing this in the pitch black. Okay. Next thing you do is, now here's the part I hate. I have to admit, I hate this part. Now, if this was a core, I'd have a definitely nightmare with this part. You want to have some tension on this. Now, you got to send it through that light tight slit. Okay. So I'm just trying to do it as if I was doing it in the dark because you totally would use it. Okay. And then, like I said, according to Bell and Howell, it says I'm supposed to push this thingy down, and the film is supposed to come out of the hole in the bottom. Oh, it doesn't seem like it's coming out of any hole. No, it's not. Maybe I'm because I'm doing it wrong. Maybe you're doing it wrong. Okay, that's possible. Alright, so anyway, here's the deal. This is what's supposed to do. Okay? Now, okay, let me ask you a related question to all this film stuff. Should a person, if they're going to use a camera like this, practice this with old film? Yes, definitely. Definitely. Okay, there we go. I got it going. Okay, so you do is you just hold this, push this down, and it'll come. And it's really hard to push. I don't know why Bell and Howell made this thing so hard to push down like this. Yeah, why did they do it that way? I don't know. I do not know why they did this way. And they're so concerned about light tight. But the sad truth is that for the amateur photographer, now I kind of got it on. So that's how it goes on. Yeah, kind of. I got to finish threading it through. So you can just... It definitely hurts your thumbs. Oh my god, yeah. With a piece of... You can use a piece of... you can use a thumbtack, you can use a fingertips, you can use anything that put pressure on. Alright, so oh my god, that sounds painful as hell. It is. Okay, so this is what you're doing is you're gonna feed this into, you're gonna push. There, I got it. Okay. So now I do is I take this film out. Now, as long as the film's threaded, I can put the cover on it. Okay, just like this. And these are daylight load spools. These are great for practice. Okay? Now, getting it to this is actually the supply in the bottom here. We happen to be using the tape on the top. Okay. Here's your traditional core. Okay, so this is a core. This is a core. This is the way films are now shipped. So it's shipped on the core, not on reels. Right. Okay. So for this practice, we're going to pretend that this is a film that we're putting onto a core. So what you do is, now remember, this is a take-up spool, or this is a supply down here. So we got it backwards. Okay? But the lacing is the same way. Down. Just like before, I'm going to push this tab in with my fingers. How the hell did you ever learn how to do this yet and not feel like you're getting overwhelmed? That's a great question. I've been doing this stuff for a long time, so... Okay, so same thing. It helps to push this button down. When you do, it goes easier to take up supply than it does the other one. Okay, so now this is going to thread the same way. Yeah. So, okay, so let's pretend this is going to be going onto a core. So I'm going to take the core. Where I put it? Here it is. Okay. Okay, there's a notch. Okay, so it goes down like that. Okay, and now you do is you take the film piece and you would thread it through like this. Okay, so that's it. That's on. That's on. Right there. It's ready to go. Okay. And again, you screw that up. Now, as I said, this is actually the supply side down here. Oh, wait a minute. This is the take-up spool. Okay, so this is the supply. This is the supply. I know, I get mixed up just like everybody else does. Alright, so then what you do is you're going to take some of the film, and you're going to need, once you take off that protective back on the camera, you thread this film through the back. And that is going to give you your shot. Now you will see that if it's done right, you will see the sprockets are on the right side, and they are. You can see it. Now, by the way, one of the things I question about is I wonder about scratching. Yeah, this is probably the biggest problem with film is scratching. This is happens to be a print film already developed, but basically, this is really, really kind of cool. So, do you like this stuff? Yeah, I like this stuff because it makes me feel like I'm looking at a piece of history. All right, so when you're shooting the film, I'm gonna use my finger over here so I don't want to scratch it. All right, if I'm shooting the film, okay, and as this film is coming from the supply, and the roller is pulling the film in down here. At the end of the session, as long as I set my film footage counter to 0, and I hit a 400, then I know that I can go in my darkroom and take this cartridge out and here, and we'll be on a full core. And it's going to be really hard to get it out because it's going to be like this. Oh my God. It's going to be like this. It's going to be a huge 7-inch core of film. It's like, think of a stack of 45 RPM records. Or a stack of raw CDs. Yeah, okay, that's an example, yeah. So I think the millennials would get. Alright, so the point is that this is the way it would be done. Okay. Well, this of course is that's the way it's threaded through. What are recans? Recans are like sometimes photographer will thread up a camera magazine like this, and they don't use the film, so they put the film back in the can, and it's called a recan. In other words, it's not used yet. It's not short ends. Short ends are similar They're film that has been shot in part by the photographer, and the ends of it that were not used are again returned to the camera. Okay, so I'm gonna put this film back into the core and back into the reel. Okay, so this is a standard 16 millimeter 100 foot reel. Yes, this is a daily spool. Do they make 400 foot? They do. I have access to 400 foot spools. Unfortunately for me, because companies have gone with cores, they are hard to find a 400 spool reel film. This happens to have, as I said, the adapter so you can use cores. Okay, so this came with this. This came with this adapter, right? Great. So, with this adapter, you can shoot 11-minute films. Yeah. Okay, now, you need a motor, you said, because the wind-up motor doesn't really do too well with this application. Correct. Okay. By the way, let me show you what a 16mm film looks like. This is a, I don't think my audience can see that, Michele. This is a 16mm film. You can see here that you have your sprockets on the bottom here. And up here, you can see this black, I mean, you can't, I don't know. You can see that there's a black strip. That black strip is actually where the soundtrack would be, if you were recording sound at the same time. Exactly, which I could not because my camera is silent. Okay, so it just leaves it blank. It leaves it as black because it's unexposed. Okay, so this is a reversal film. Right. Now, what is a reversal film in contrast, say, to things like the other stuff that we do with computers and things like that? Well, reversal films, like digital photography, is very sensitive to latitude, exposure latitude, so you got to really kind of nail it right perfectly the same. So basically, if you can deal with film, you can deal with exposure latitude. Great. Okay. So, by the way, this is a very specialized piece, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, so you don't want to lose this. This is a very specialized spring, and you need to keep this in here. Okay? So you keep it in here. I keep it inside this because you need it. Alright, so what does the motor look like? I have an AC DC motor. It's universal. It's very loud. Would not want to use it for shooting anything where I need quietness, because it's so loud you will not miss it when it's running. It sounds like an air raid siren. Really? It's that loud? It's that loud. So I'm gonna put this back in here. It goes in a certain way. Okay. So what does that look like? I'm gonna show you. Wow. And it has a connector on it. It looks like it hasn't been cleaned in a long time. It hasn't been used in a very long time. And this thing is it's kind of seized up, so I'm gonna work it a little bit. Yeah. Use a little oil. So, all right. So this is a motor. This thing is hideous. It's got a plug on it just like on the microphone. Oh God, yes, I could just visualize you trying to plug in a microphone into this thing. It will cause a lot of damage. Okay, so I gotta figure out why this motor seized up. I can unseize it a little later on. It uses the same XLR cable as the microphone. Okay, I got more filter rings and stuff in here. Oh, 3-prong, 2-prong. This is the original Yell and Howl motor. You call it a Yell and Howl? Yeah, trust me, it's one of a kind. The crap. You can see it says got the original Canon plug on it. And it's really, really, definitely is a piece of work. Absolutely. And if I can get this motor to turn, and you were to hear it, you would swear to God, it sounds like an air raid siren. It really is that loud. It really is unbelievable. It's seasoned because it needs a lubrication. I gotta get some. Can you use WD-40 on it? Absolutely. WD-40 would work very well for it. Okay, so I might spray some on there a little later on and see if I can get that motor working. Okay, so you also said it uses, you can use film as a wind-up motor. Yes, it does. Okay, and this is the key for it. Okay, so that's the key for the wind-up motor. Yes. Okay, cool. So you can actually shoot film, unwind it as well. And you can also equip it with a hand crank. What would you use hand crank for? Well, if you don't want to use the electric motor, because of either you don't have electricity, or like I said, it sounds hideous. Or maybe you're doing something like a, National Geographic, and you're trying to shoot a fairly silent scene with animals or something. You might want to use the motor to be kind of a silent kind of thing. Okay, so you can have noisy motors and quiet motors. Yeah. All right, so now, next thing, where do you get the medium? Okay, I'm glad you asked me that, because this just happens to be very clear. There is large amounts of film supplies are available from a variety of companies. Okay, what about developing? Developing is not a problem. Really. They're still developing film today. They're still developing film. They can still get film all sizes and develop really, really easily. Got a couple of them. I have a book here from my 35mm days. It happens to be sitting in here. I don't know really why. Better 35mm pictures. This is a nice little book. This is a very nice, simple little book. Okay, this shows you a composition, lighting, a variety of things that you can do. And these same tricks can also be used with digital photography as well, such as composition, using certain filters for special effects, soft filters, brightness, contrast filters, use of exposures. Really great book. Out of date. Technically, it is out of print. It was a special edition for the Clinton Photographics Incorporated Limited on 492 Main Street in Winsted, Connecticut, which unfortunately is no longer there anymore. I got this back in '83. Okay, so this is an old book. This is definitely an old book. I think it's really amazing all the stuff that you have collected and everything. And you could definitely, obviously, you said to me that yourself you're really excited to return to film because why? I missed the excitement. There's just something mysterious from the minute you push that shutter button to the minute you get your prints back from the photo lab, or you get the film back from developing it yourself before printing and making a contact sheet and looking at the pictures and go, why did I shoot that? I mean, there's always that question like, okay, let me ask you one more thing. Is, for people, both digital photography and film-based photography, one of the things I see a lot of people do is it's just snapshots. Okay, now snapshots are like what? They're like plain average, boring. How can you make your snapshots look a little more exciting? Well, that goes into composition. Basically, is a piece of advice is remember your picture is going to have to be part of a story. It's going to tell a story. And the biggest mistake that some people do is they try to get too much in the shot. Okay, in other words, they might say take a picture, say like of a birthday party scene, and maybe the person, it's supposed to be the person that's the focus point. Okay, so they take this huge picture of maybe a big room, a bunch of kids, birthday cake, present. That establishes the scene, right? So it's just like when we do with motion pictures, the same thing. You want to establish the scene. You have the scene set. Now, who's the birthday child? Oh, that's the one over there in the far corner. Well, take a picture of the birthday child close up. Get close enough to the camera with the camera that you can see the child. Right. So that the child is going to be the center of your focus. You want to compose your pictures as best you can to take advantage of the elements of the picture. Like right now, we set the studio up here to take advantage of the daylight. We want to use an informal studio, but we had to use the filter we're using right now to compensate for the fact is that we have an incandescent light on, and our camera is set up as a tungsten-based camera, so we had to use a tungsten 83A filter to compensate for the daylight coming in. Right now the sun's going down. Yeah, and or behind clouds. Anyways, yeah, we're going to be having to fine tune some things in post production. This case, like I said, video is like slide film. The exposure latitude for most cases is just not there to really give you a precise light. Right, so you have to kind of just guess and adjust accordingly in post production. Right, just like we would do if we were making a print on a easel and then a larger, you might go ahead and just take a raw print, and then based on the way the print comes out, the colors, if you're doing color prints, you might decide that you might need a little more blue, maybe a little bit less, a little bit less, maybe a little more cyan, a little bit less magenta, maybe just a tiny touch more yellow on the printing of the picture to get a good look. It's the same deal, except the color paper is really expensive. Now, of course, the funny thing is there's companies now that are making film brand new. Yes, there's companies called Lomography. www.lomography.com. They also are offering inexpensive cameras for people to start making simple DIY cameras. And they have created their own custom film emulsions for special effects. Plus, they are working with the Kodak film division. I think it was Argyle or something like that. Kodak Argyle or something, Agile, which is to market products. And so Kodak has not totally gotten out of the amateur film market. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, so you can get film brand new and stuff, and photo labs are still available. Yes. And is it better to get film on prints or on CDs? That depends on how you plan to go with it. If you want to take the raw photographs from the CD, bring it into the GIMP or the Photoshop, and special effect it, and or change the brightness, contrast, whatever, then it makes sense to go with the CD. If you just want informal snaps of your son or your daughter's birthday party, you might just go with the prints and maybe a CD as well. Okay, so there's a lot of choices out there. What about home darkrooms? Home darkroom developing is still available as an option, and I found out that I can now get chemicals delivered to my house. Now, what happened was that? What is that the reason why you originally got out of film? Yeah, because there was it was right after September 11th, 2001, and UPS decided they were no longer going to ship certain chemicals, and so included darkroom chemicals, and so with no way of getting chemicals from my lab, from my darkroom, I just couldn't do film anymore. And then, of course, with your cataract in your right eye, which I didn't have really a cataract in my right eye. So it definitely was an issue. Yeah. And now, of course, now you come a long way. You can see better. You're doing things and things like that. Right. Well, I thank you very much, Michele, for taking the time to talk about your film experience. And what would you suggest for anybody else who wants to get into the film medium? Take your time, research it. Don't get too overwhelmed. I mean, you got at least over 100 years of technology to study. I mean, the best thing to do is just to pick up a simple point and shoot or Instamatic film camera. Go ahead, start shooting a couple of rolls of film, send them down to the lab, study books and composition, which these skills will also be good for your digital photography as well, and it will help you to improve your results. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And by the way, guys, I want to thank you for watching this special show. Please don't forget to like or dislike, share with everybody, comments, friends, whatever, and comment in the comment section below here, and we will always read them. And if you have questions for anything of this Michele's mentioned, please do not be afraid to contact us. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.